Şirin loved her dad very much. Her dad's name was Murat. He was kind and strong. One day, Dad came home with a surprise. He had a soft, fluffy rabbit. The rabbit had big, shiny eyes and long, white whiskers. "This is for you, Şirin," Dad said. Şirin was so happy. She hugged the rabbit tightly. "Thank you, Dad," she cried. Şirin named the rabbit Pamuk, which means cotton in Turkish. Pamuk was the softest, cuddliest rabbit Şirin had ever seen. Şirin took Pamuk everywhere. They played in the garden. They sat under the apple tree. Pamuk even slept in a basket next to Şirin's bed. Şirin loved her new friend very much. She didn't know that Pamuk had a magical secret. One day, Şirin was playing with Pamuk in the garden. They were chasing butterflies. The sun was warm and the flowers were blooming. Suddenly, Şirin heard a tiny voice. "Be careful, Şirin. Don't step on the ladybugs." Şirin looked around. She didn't see anyone. "Who said that?" she asked. Pamuk hopped closer to her. "It was me, Şirin," he whispered. Şirin was amazed. Her rabbit could talk. "But how?" "I am a magical rabbit," Pamuk explained. "Only you can hear me talk." Şirin was so excited. She had a magical friend. She promised Pamuk that she would keep his secret. From that day on, Şirin and Pamuk were the best of friends. They shared all their secrets, and they had many adventures together. Şirin lived near a big, beautiful forest. She loved to explore it with Pamuk. Pamuk knew all the forest's secrets. He knew where the sweetest berries grew. He knew where the birds built their nests, and he knew the names of all the animals. Pamuk taught Şirin how to listen to the forest. He showed her how to identify animal tracks. He taught her which plants were safe to touch and which were not. Şirin learned so much from Pamuk. She became a true friend to the forest. One day they found a baby bird that had fallen out of its nest. Şirin gently picked it up. Pamuk showed her how to build a new nest for the bird. They put the baby bird back in its nest. Şirin was happy that she could help. One sunny afternoon, Şirin and Pamuk were playing in the forest. They were having a wonderful time, but then they noticed something strange. The forest was quiet, too quiet. The birds weren't singing. The squirrels weren't chattering. Even the wind seemed to be holding its breath. "Something is wrong," Şirin whispered. Pamuk nodded. He could feel it too. They followed a narrow path. It led them to a clearing in the forest. In the middle of the clearing stood a tree, but this wasn't just any tree. This tree was old and massive. Its branches reached up to the sky like long, thin arms, but the tree looked sick. Its leaves were brown and droopy. Its bark was dry and cracked. The tree looked like it was about to cry. Şirin and Pamuk went closer to the tree. They could feel its sadness. "What's wrong?" Şirin asked softly. The tree rustled its leaves weakly. "I am dying," it whispered, "and if I die, the whole forest will suffer." "We have to help it," Şirin cried. Pamuk nodded. "But how?" he asked. Just then, a wise old owl flew down from a branch. "I know what you can do," the owl hooted. "You must find the spring of life." The owl explained that the spring was hidden deep in the mountains. It was a long and dangerous journey. Şirin didn't hesitate. She was determined to save the tree. She knew she couldn't do it alone, though, so she and Pamuk went to find their forest friends. They told them about the tree and the spring of life. The animals were worried. They knew how important the tree was to the forest. They wanted to help Şirin and Pamuk. The journey was long and difficult. Şirin and Pamuk had to climb over rocks and cross rivers, but they never gave up, and they weren't alone. The animals helped them along the way. The squirrels showed them the safest paths. The birds flew ahead and warned them of any danger, and the deer let Şirin ride on their backs when she got tired. Finally, they reached the mountains. The wise old owl had given them a map. They followed it to a hidden cave. Inside the cave, they found the spring of life. The water sparkled and shimmered. It was the most beautiful thing Şirin had ever seen. Carefully, Şirin filled a clay pot with the magical water. Then she and Pamuk hurried back to the forest. They went straight to the dying tree. Şirin poured the water over its roots. At first, nothing happened. Then the tree began to shake, its leaves unfurled, its branches reached up towards the sun. The tree was alive, but something was still wrong. The tree was not as strong as it used to be. Pamuk looked up at the tree's branches. They were thick and tangled. "The sun can't reach the lower leaves," he said. Şirin understood. "We need to help the sunlight reach the tree," she said. Şirin and the animals worked together. They carefully trimmed the tree's branches. They cleared away the bushes around its base. They let the sunlight shine on the tree's leaves. The tree soaked up the sun's warmth. It grew stronger and healthier every day. The forest rejoiced. The birds sang. The squirrels chattered. The wind whispered through the leaves. The tree was healthy again, and the forest was in balance. The animals were grateful to Şirin and Pamuk. They had saved the tree and the forest. They all gathered around the tree. They cheered for Şirin. They sang songs about her bravery. They told stories about her kindness. Şirin was a hero. She had faced danger. She had shown courage and compassion, and she had saved the day. From that day on, Şirin was known as Şirin the Forest Hero. She continued to visit the forest every day. She played with her animal friends. She listened to the forest's whispers, and she took care of the trees and animals. She knew that the forest was a precious gift, and she was determined to protect it always.